Friday special meeting be called to order. The Village of Romeo Board of Trustees will be held on Monday, July 31st, 2017, 8:30 p.m. Romeo Village Hall, 121 West St. Clair, Romeo, Michigan, 48065. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Michael.
Romeo. Here. Edwards. Here. Fowler.
Yes.
Hart.
Here.
Nelson. Absent. Poznansky.
Here.
President Sigler.
Present.
She's got to take it.
New business. Sushi outdoor patio request.
Yes. Yes. Alright, well, we're here with our documentation. We took his best pictures, many drawings that we have. Worked with you guys to make this the most feasible way for everybody to get around. So my buddy can take over. He's with our company that's installing professionally, and he has most of the drawings right here.
So Mike and I have been working together a couple months now to get this thing finalized. I think we're at a point to, I've addressed all issues that he has brought up in regards to, there's a question about distance from the patio to the tree, from the patio to the curb. I believe now I fall within all ordinances to be compliant for the patio. So
They get a lot of drawings.
You went over with Mike and made all the changes?
No. Well, he just hit him at the table here, but I'm not sure what he drew. So, what the concern was is with this, the request is that it's part their issue, part kind of our issue that hasn't been done. Is that there's three areas of issue. Okay. Right here by the tree, you're supposed to give 5 foot of
Any obstacle?
any obstacle, which the problem is there's a whole bunch of heaved paving stones in that location. Me and Mike Bomarito Friday morning went over and measured every little bit of it. Their drawing was a little bit off, but I kind of knew what they were going at. Number two is the amount of space between their little walkway and their windows there. I believe that's only 26 inches maybe between here and there.
I'm at 4 feet.
That's 4 feet?
Yep. I have it outlined actually on the concrete in front of the restaurant.
I gotcha. Because where your measurement here to 6 feet doesn't show that. when
Yeah,
you
this
submit it.
8 foot is now 4 foot right here. So that's going to bring you in. This is just the gate, these 2 feet on each side.
Got a picture.
Okay.
Here's a better picture.
Shortened up.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
shortened it up.
So in regards to the tree, I'm 7 feet away from the tree at this point, and 6 feet at this point.
And the brick pavers that are coming up, that's going to concern an issue for the city when someone breaks their leg and they're going to go for a lawsuit because it's
That's exactly why we have to keep
I agree.
obstacle-free
But
right away.
if-
Just listen, I'm not done with my
Okay, go ahead.
issue, all right? One reason, if they weren't selling alcohol or that didn't need this approval, or me being the ability to approve outdoor seating, is this area here coming off of the alleyway. This is an open alleyway, been an open alleyway forever. Now what we're doing is jettisoning all the way out of that open alleyway to only a 5 foot area. Now the 5 foot area has to go in from the inside of that curb base back 5 feet. I think you guys should be probably sitting about 8.6.
I'm at, yeah, 8.5. I'm
8.5
I'm
instead
5
of
feet
the,
now, yeah.
exactly. So that was the concerns that I had, no matter what, this was a concern, even though they weren't selling liquor out there. But as you look here, this is their 5 foot right of way. That's where Jennison's out 6 feet. We only got about 4 before we hit obstacles. And it's right here hits the ring. Now, that has been on fixing the paving stone until this year, until our budget was, we were thinking the obligation of the DDA. We budgeted actually for it because the DDA wasn't going to do it. We budgeted for it this year. We're only 31 days into our budget with minimal taxes collected. So as soon as we can get that done, the sooner the better. All right. Now, that's another picture of it.
But that's not his problem, right?
It is his problem because it's still out in front of his location.
So are all the building owners responsible for the grates around the trees?
No.
There's enough room for a wheelchair and a
No,
double
okay,
carriage
just-
baby stroller can fit through there.
Alright, so
Unless
this,
you gotta-
this is what your measurement was, 6 foot to there. Now you're saying it's 8 foot, so then you're still gonna have a little,
From the door? Yeah, we're coming out 6 foot from the door to the tree, to that.
Which is
way.
that?
And we end like right in that area.
which
We're
is
set-
that.
we'll be
And then
7
if you
feet
bring
from
it
that
all the way down, like your
We're not,
map was
it's
showing,
just, it's a gate.
it's still showing, because you have this opening up, you only have a little tiny bit of room to negotiate. And
That's 4 feet from that gate post to his wall.
Is this a different drawing then?
Yeah, this is the updated drawing based off your issues that you addressed in the last email.
Yeah, we kind
This is the
of,
new drawing now, to correct all these
So this
issues.
is only 4 foot here.
Yes. So instead of the
Well, then
2 foot
it's-
section on each side, we're gonna put just the gate.
we have a chalk on chalk on the sidewalk. You wanna record that?
I got you.
Has Bob Marino looked it over?
Well, me and him went over, and that's where it's not approved.
There's plenty of space
Bring
for
it.
a double carriage to get through the area. There you have a baby stroller, double, a wheelchair. There's plenty of space. Now you're talking about the brick paving. When that starts coming off, I mean,
It's still obstacle, we're still
But
talking
you-
about
but you still can go
I'm just
through
telling
it.
you, I'm just telling you
And
what the
Mike,
concern is.
what I would think, we gotta maybe try to find a solution here. One of the things you were talking about, wanting to put some slagstone or something in that, for a temporary stopgap, we should take care of this one because a business wants to be able to do this. If you wanna pull up grates and for the small, put in some slagstone and see how that works as a test case, fix the few bricks, but for us to make his variance for where his fenced-in area is gonna be, because the sidewalk has
Well, until- I mean,
tripping hazards, we need to address the tripping
I was out
hazards.
there with a tape measure this morning. I went through every one of their, and I've met with him already once. I went across the street, I went to his place, I measured everything up. Everything he has probably the most clear path for people to get through because the office pub has a sign that's right in the middle of the way. And we go around that every day. The Youngers has a light
There's a
pole.
tree right there too. I
There's a
remember
tree, but
John,
there's also a
Hanging-
light
your
pole.
husband was going
Hanging
through with the
plants.
stroller and
Yeah.
actually had to pick it up and carry it through.
That's why I removed one of the
I was-
cars.
And they're actually up against,
Yeah.
on those
If I may finish?
papers.
And then across the street, these guys actually, is it Youngers? Youngers is like almost a foot less from the fence to the curb at a certain portion. So they actually have the most clear pathway. I was out there with tape measure and your drawings, and you did tell me exactly where everything was gonna be. And then the alleyway has 2 entrances. It has that center piece to keep probably cars from going down there. But people can still go around this way, they can still go around this way, as they always have. All he's gonna have is a fence there. Before, he did have a table and chairs there, so people weren't able to just run into him. But I went over it, it looks grand. He should
Now,
not be
you know, with
denied.
your fencing,
comparison
would
to
you
what everybody
be
else
able
has.
to do something to
Well,
soften
I'm just
that
telling you,
corner?
Right?
Yeah,
trying to
I
do
mean,
my
if you want to knock
If you
it
wanted
90
to do something where the, you know, so you wouldn't have a sharp corner here,
Absolutely.
just put a corner there so it makes like an apron
Yeah.
to go there, because I think Dad and I
We can
talked
do
about
that. We can
Are you even gonna slope that now
We
from
can-
the alley?
yeah, if we
wasn't
need
going
to.
but if
No,
we
but
need
just
to,
a corner.
then
I'm
we
talking
can-
about
I mean,
taking-
let's
I'm
do
just
it.
You would lose more
This was
space,
more-
but it would be nice.
What I'm talking, no, what I'm
Space,
talking
but
about.
it looked
is
more
just
inviting
taking
if this
off a
was-
corner.
That's fine, I'm-
Or even if you cut it on a 45, whatever works best for
It'll be
you.
a 45
Too
is what it
short.
would be.
But to
You got
make
a
it,
corner here.
yeah, because you can't really make it
More
that.
comfortable for people when they come around the corner.
Just looks more.
No, I have no problem with doing that. I just need enough room for
That's
2
not gonna
tables,
affect our room or space
4
either.
people. I want to sit out there, 8 seats I'm gonna have out there, and
And it'll be taken down in the fall. like
it's completely removable.
The other ones don't.
And we picked up really nice, make sure it looked good for the city. We use
Yep.
good
Everyone.
commercial grade.
Yes, they do.
Office, no, the office leaves
We're working
a
in the brick
portion of
neighborhoods too.
their
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see it every day. People do triple. Like, I have a lot of people come in my restaurant, and I see a lot of people trip, and I know that it needs to be addressed soon because I think after this winter, the bricks would probably be popped up. Like, you can pull on them, and
Well, the biggest thing is,
you can still get around with the wheelchair.
I know, I'm just saying, it's gotta have 5 foot. If we wanna pull those and put slag in them, that's why I'm gonna be meeting with Rocks and Roots.
If you want to try to
in
make a
regards
fix
to
for that, they pay taxes, and if the sidewalk is causing a problem that they can't grow to do their business, we need to address that one. And if you're thinking maybe you want to put slag, let's make that a test and see how that works. Not just the
And
one.
the office pub has a sign, so it's only like 2 feet, and then there's an obstacle, the sign,
But-
and then there's another 2 feet or 3 feet
So
to
we
the
can't
fence.
go back to just saying that, but
Yeah.
if it's supposed to
But
be
I'm just
5
saying, we
feet-
should be fair here, I mean.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
Yeah, I just don't, things have changed, all right, like growth. that different thing, more, well, like I said, flowers, but the flowers were removed in that location. So I'm just going by what I'm supposed to
Right,
and
5
can
feet.
approve.
And I would say
right?
5
I
feet from the
can't-
tree.
I can't just go and say, you can do it.
Right, 5 feet from the tree is what
From
I
the
would
tree or the
say.
pavers?
That's, and I, you know, the pavers and the metal should be fixed. If
Well,
it's a
actually, the
tripping
pavers
hazard,
should be
if it's
fixed.
a tripping hazard, it's a tripping hazard anyway. And there's plenty of those in the village.
Oh, all over
But we
the
should fix this one so that it doesn't impede the business from trying to do.
I have been.
Actually, the
business.
metal grate would be fine. Anyone who knows what they're doing would be able to take those brick pavers, pull them. That's what I do, and grade them up to the grate, so it'd be perfect. I mean, I'd be willing to do that little spot for free.
Like I said, I've been here for 8 years to do business. I have people come hours away. I have people from all over Flint, Port Huron, to come all over to my restaurant. Now I'm out here. Now all of them are flushing out here to go to Younger's Tavern. You know, I'm trying to make the city more inviting, bring people in,
Or village.
rebuild.
You're doing a good job.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we are a village. Everyone does that. Oversight on occasion.
The village,
I don't know where you're at. In 8 years.
village,
That's so petty.
the city, village.
Village, you know, he was just trying to make his points there. No.
But yeah,
So, I think it looks great.
Can I see the new drawing?
Yeah.
and we will then have no. We have no problem with doing 45 bed
Here's the old
on
one.
that to
with
just make
the
sure that
concern circle.
so it looks more
Here's the
inviting.
new
Come around the corner.
And
So
keep in mind, they've always had
keep
tables and
traffic
chairs
flowing
out there.
without people having to run into a corner. I understand that.
Yeah.
But are you guys ordering materials and things? Because we do have to have a drawing of what we're gonna be approving. I mean, how far this is gonna go up, what corner you're gonna be putting on there. You know, just a
Right.
good
Yeah.
drawing.
So
that
I
we
updated
actually
the drawing to address those three concerns, and now with the 45, I have to update that.
And if we
then-
get that together by the next meeting,
got the drawing.
that'll
I
work
got
for
it
you
right
guys.
here. The new one.
Which now?
So
I think
with
it's got the updated drawing.
the
There's, oh,
45.
it's not this one?
No, he
No,
just
I
threw
have
it
that
in
updated.
when he was sitting here when you wait for you guys, so I don't have anything.
Not this side.
I mean, we just need to get approval so we can prepare ourselves for like the summer's over, and I have the material to go. The company's calling me like, get your material, everything. We've been to work with this, try to fix the brick
Dimitri,
paving.
to be fair though,
Hey, are you allowed to
We
put
do
your
need
tables
to
out
have-
there without the fence like you do?
Yeah, I had tables out there last year. I had two big round tables, as in the drawing, and I had 8 people last year. But then every morning I get there, chairs be scattered all over in the alleyway, all over.
They don't
It was a
respect it.
mess. And no one respects it. And on top of that, when people come around the corner, they're running into people eating. You know.
Keep in mind that until you get approved, if you're allowed to put tables
Yeah.
out there, at least maybe even one.
I might do. I have one. I gave one to my
So
dad.
you want
If
a
you're gonna do it.
blueprint?
well,
We're looking
just,
for a
I mean,
motion
normally
here?
we have, like, this didn't have,
I need
You know.
complete drawings. You guys believe in what
I mean, he works for a professional company. I mean, he's not gonna be.
It's gonna be still left up to the building inspector to approve it. So
I mean, put a 45 in.
and agree that we'll take care of the tripping hazard, and the 5 feet that he needs is gonna be from the tree.
Do you want to see this, guys?
No, it's gonna be 6 feet from the wall.
Pardon?
It's gonna be 6 feet from the wall.
Okay, and 5 feet clearance minimum for the tree, right?
If that, no, 5 feet clear, it's up to you guys, but I'm just telling you that's
I'm
5
saying,
foot.
you're saying 5 feet is what you need from the obstacle, right?
Yes.
And what I think, if you want us to agree that we should take care of the obstacle that you're talking about as far as the grate and the brick paver, because that's a tripping hazard for anybody, and to say because there's a tripping hazard, you can't have your,
The one thing
I
that's
don't think
worrisome.
that makes
The one
sense.
thing that's worrisome, it's not the paver stones, it's not the tree grate, it's not the grate, it's the tree.
it's the
The
what?
rooting structure is what's doing this.
It's the
Oh,
tree.
Yeah.
It's not it's not any of that. It's not any of the pavers. Paver stones are an issue because the root structures are pulling up all the paver stones throughout the whole town.
He's just
Right.
telling you why the pavers are damaged, because of the roots.
Yeah.
But those particular pavers there are nothing compared to a lot of the areas.
Well, it's
Those-
the
those are-
speedway and the bank and this and right here are the 4 majors that I want to get accomplished.
We're gonna make a motion on this?
Just so I mean, you asked about the
I'd like-
material, I'm ready. I mean, we
I'd
got
like
it
to make
in
the motion to approve that these guys are able to move forward with this one.
No.
I'll support it.
We're gonna have it all professionally done and it'll look good. The town, people are gonna drive through and
On
look.
the corrections, you want to
bringing this back to-
on the corrections that are requested?
Is that what I'm
I
understanding?
would like to get it done and have it, be able to move forward.
This
With
is,
that one angle.
we gotta have something better than this.
So is that something
I'm sorry.
that has to
I mean, we
wait
can,
until
we
next
could take
meeting,
pictures
or
of them
can I
too.
just-
I mean,
You're not-
Identify the
we're
building.
voting on this
What,
tonight.
what'll happen in the corner?
Well, no, we still need,
He's gonna put your
because he's gotta
45
submit his
He's
building
gonna submit
permit.
his.
Like,
So I've
I
been
hear what
working,
you said,
who've
but-
I been working with?
Like a,
Like the-
No, the lady that I've been sending.
He's
Christine,
saying I
So,
can't make a
Mike,
motion?
No, you're not
Sydney?
working through here, you're working through a trustee somewhere else. You work through here, the village office. So when he submitted a building permit, or you guys submitted a building permit, not to here.
I mean, it's gonna be, you get a better drawing, but I mean.
Right.
Not to
Yeah, no, I was
Well,
out there.
and the reason why we did that is
You and I met
because
the other
I
day.
had asked
I
them
mean,
to bring emails down for
we
you.
have, like I said, we have the company putting it in, and, you know, we have all.
I'll go back.
Like, we're just
I mean,
gonna
I've given you every
be
single
done.
piece of paper back.
I mean,
I have.
it's
I mean, you've never once said
everything
anything.
is like materials, yeah, I mean, we have material, we have more pictures.
No,
Right, the lady that we were working with, trustee, had told us that's the only thing we're missing.
And everything else. Like you
You're gonna be, and being
I
compliant.
mean, yeah, I have to get
Yeah,
it.
Architect's good point.
Well, no, you can do it. Just take your time and do it.
But just with a
Do better
ruler.
job than that.
Is it really, maybe, I mean.
Identify the building, the atmosphere, the alley.
20 grand to spend on the
Not necessarily.
I can't do all that, I make sushi, and I don't know if I can draw much better, like this.
No, I get it.
Like, you know, I mean.
Oh, I get, yeah, I do this for a living, I get it, yeah. What I'm saying is,
There's plenty of clearance from the tree.
you know,
get
your
around-
number,
I'm not
it's
sure
raised
exactly.
that.
Even with the paper, even with the paper,
So,
even with the
that's been
papers
filled
up,
out. I'll
there's plenty
email
of
it to you
room
tomorrow.
if you have a baby or your wheelchair to get by. There's two ways to get by, around the tree and through around our gate. And then the only thing that's causing the problem is this, and we were never, Mike Lee has
Like
never
you, Bob-
expressed
you and Bob Ray looked at it, Mike?
that this could be an
Bob
idea.
was up- and he was
Put
okay
a
with it.
45 on it.
Romeo looked at
If
it?
we put a 45 on it, I think it does make it more inviting. It's not a point.
Mike and Mike.
Did Bomarito look at it, the
Talking
inspector?
about
Yes.
the
Our concern.
He's
obstruction.
looked at that one, he has not yet.
The grade of the papers, and that's
Well,
not
I saw the
obstruction.
motion
We
on the
fixed
floor,
that
I believe.
obstruction.
Let's quiet down.
What are we at, Square?
Zach, you asked if I'm.
Yeah, that's my most. When you and Bomarito looked at, what was our building?
These are the issues. This was more my issue here, but this spacing
Yeah.
and that is the big issue.
But the issue, the obstruction, is the grate in our pavers. That is the obstruction. We need to take care of that obstruction.
Absolutely.
And my next question off what you just said,
Should be taken care of either
Is-
way.
Right, but that's one that we can take care of
Shouldn't
now.
are they coming back with the redrawing to show the right distances and
Stop
that?
them.
To approve the outdoor seating with the changes,
If we count the tree, that, there's plenty of room for the
Bartholomew,
tree.
listen.
I am listening.
all right, to approve the to approve the outdoor seating,
Addressing the corner,
For whatever the business name is.
modifying the corner to not be a sharp.
I would like to not have to like, you know, come through this again.
We're
Okay,
getting through this.
okay, we're good.
So,
Approve the modified
changes.
drawing and the 45-degree angle.
Yes.
And I'll bring it back to Bomarito.
you bring it back here.
We're in the middle of a motion.
So we're-
no more discussion.
All right, is there a motion?
Yeah, I made a motion that we allowed
90.
Sushi Bar to move forward with their fence.
Yeah, it's Bartholomew and Edwards. All right, you guys all right with that?
Okay,
To
can you
approve the
just
outdoor
restate the
seating at the
motion?
Corby Sushi with the changes, including the 90-degree angle.
Did you have any concerns, Megan? 45-degree angle.
45-degree angle.
We're talking, just to be clear, we're talking about cutting off that sharp corner. That's what.
The north end of the.
It's coming out straight, that there's gonna be.
I'm not sure if we could deny it when we've set precedents and offering the other, allowing the other businesses. This is a unique situation though, given the tree. I would prefer that the tree get taken care of first before we put this in.
The tree or the brick pavers?
Well, yeah, the issue, the brick
We might
pavers.
remove that, and it's gonna be having to lop down that tree, so, just cutting trees down.
Well, we're talking about fixing it, we can address this one. You were talking about slag stone or whatever. Let's see how best to address this. Let Nathan see what he can fix up, but to deny him, to deny a business to be able to have outdoor seating like our other restaurants because we have a tripping hazard in the sidewalk is, I don't understand
When
it.
you bought,
That's
when
the
you
same
moved
for Main
in with
Street
your
too,
business,
right?
was it already like that?
That's the same for Main Street.
What do you mean?
The red curve.
Was the tree?
Oh, I mean, it's been like that for quite a while, but it's been progressively
So you
worse.
moved in though knowing what it looked like and knowing that it was there.
I mean,
Doesn't really
Is that-
require
Doesn't
responsibility.
move our
No,
responsibility.
but I'm saying, don't come to us and say, we want it fixed this instant. We need to fix it, yes. I'm
We
not
need to
arguing
fix it
that.
this instant
Right.
because we got legal issues potentially.
But we
If
can-
someone trips and falls on it, breaks their neck, they're gonna sue us, not him.
But as far as this motion goes, we're just looking at the fencing. And it's,
Right, and we will take care of that tree. That pavers and
You wanna do a
that
Should have
tripping
been done
hazard.
yesterday. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Everybody? Oh,
Yeah.
Is that a 6-0?
yes.
Number 2, Court Appeal of 315 Dickinson Street. I would make a motion to reconsider the vote from last week.
to what?
I would make a motion to reconsider
Reconsideration vote?
the reconsideration vote of the.
I don't think we need to because it's a tie.
Oh, I guess it doesn't matter, it was a tie,
I just wanted to understand.
Who do you want one?
No, I said I just wanted to understand exactly what you said.
I'll second it.
Do we have to vote on that issue first? That's the way it should be redone. Really reconsider.
Now it's up for discussion.
And we will have once we're
Then it'll be up for discussion.
reconsidering it.
Who's the second?
Megan. This is just
All right. Bartholomew?
This is to what? I'm sorry.
Just to reconsider.
Okay, and then we'll have discussion?
Then we'll have another.
Yeah.
We have to make another motion to
Yeah.
say yea or nay.
Okay, yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Fowler?
Abstain.
Hart?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Rosenfield?
Yes.
That's 5-0.
1, 2, 3, yeah, five.
I would make a motion to pursue the case with Mr. Clark in the Supreme Court. Or, what do we call it? Appeal to the Supreme Court would be the proper wording of that?
Yes.
I'll support it.
And now your discussion.
Now your discussion.
Edwards?
Okay, yeah.
Well, after reading this proposal here that was presented, this thing's full of lies, right off the bat. Knowing that the Village of Romeo did not start petitioning Mr. Rogers here after 2012, as far as regarding that property. Mike Clairhart was being petitioned from 1994 when it was rezoned residential on. He ceased doing his business from that period on. There's plenty of residents here that are witnesses to that. So I'm reading here from 2012 on, Mr. Rogers was starting to be harassed by the Village of Romeo regarding the citations. That's a complete lie. Because the Village of Romeo, the police department, our environmentals were doing their due diligence as far as helping Mr. Clairhart clean up that property from 94 on when it was his own residential. You know, so however this was put, rolled up into a bag and threw against the wall and stuck. As far as the Supreme Court, I don't know how that got through, but evidently it did. That's what I got to say about this thing. Especially like it says, it appears from the record, evidence, that the trailside purchase of the property, defendants attempted to enforce the residential zoning classification without regards to the existence of the prior non-conforming use. Well, it was non-conforming from 94 on. 23 years it's been zoned residential. There's all types of new development that has happened since the property's been zoned residential. We have a lot of residents here in the stands that come to speak as far as them living in the community. And I'm sitting here listening to that previous thing, you know, they pay taxes, let's help them out. Well, how about the people that live here? How about the people that pay taxes here? They raise their family on this street. And then you got to put, you're trying to rezone the whole thing back to what it wasn't? I don't understand. Those that supported it You're failing the residents of the village of Romeo. You're failing. You're not doing your job.
Any residents like to speak?
Well, I know that if he wants to use it how it was used before, they used it for nothing. I've been there since 2002. There was stuff that would be, before it was bought, it sat there and did nothing. So if you want to put stuff in there and let it sit there and do nothing, then you're using it how it was used before. I'm good with that. I can tell you this, there's all kinds of kids up and down that street. I don't want trucks going up and down my street. I don't want them making all kinds of noise and all kinds of crap. I can tell you that right now. This is not gonna go well with all the people that live down there.
I don't have children there anymore, as far as young children, but I have grandchildren, and we personally bought it at the dead end street for the purpose of not having a bunch of traffic as kids were growing up, and there is a lot of kids. Mr. Rogers personally told quite a few of us when he first purchased it that he would not put a business, would not store trucks. He was gonna make a park, possibly build houses. And he didn't just tell me that, or all of us at one time, he told us all that at individual. He began bringing trucks, knocking over basketball hoops that have been sitting out forever, breaking up concrete. It just isn't what we all have bought houses there for. Personally, he's done a tremendous job, he cleaned it up, but it's not, it shouldn't be what commercial anymore.
Now, in 1994, Mr. Clairhouse signed a petition for rezoning of the property. He was the previous owner. So obviously he knew his business at that point was about dead. So to get the previous owner to sign the petition for the rezoning, no way in hell should it go back to what it used to be, light industrial.
I'd like to just say is what Mr. Rogers, let him, what he's gonna do with it. I mean, maybe he's just gonna move apart. I mean, we're all jumping on him. Do you, sir, want to just say what you want to do? I mean, it's your property. You know, I just, as a resident, I just want to know what you plan on doing with it.
Yeah, and you know, and I think that's what bothered people from day one is I bought it as an investment.
Yeah.
I don't have a plan for the property. But I was told that if I took a dump truck there and parked it overnight, I'd be ticketed. I was told if I parked my antique tractors there, I'd be ticketed. That's.
Have you been ticketed?
I have been ticketed.
How many times?
Multiple times. I've been dragged into district court and had to pay fines and court costs and whatever else.
But you also weren't just parking trucks there, you were dumping loads of concrete.
You know what, in order to make the improvements that we made, that's what it took.
I get
was
that,
to
but
bring
you were
material
taking it
in.
from other jobs, storing it there till you need it somewhere else, and that's not what, we don't wanna have to bring our children all in so you can bring your semis up and down our dead-end little street. It's a small little street on the end of an elementary school. It's just right up the street. There's no reason to have semis coming up and down it.
We
Unless
don't
you're
pass the
planning to do
elementary
something
school,
with
everybody
it.
comes in off of the.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter where
It
people
doesn't
come
matter where
in.
you're
The
passing or
whole
where you're
street
going.
is
You
the
don't have to
elementary
drive dump trucks and
school.
stuff down our street. It's a little street. What if somebody's parked down the
What about
street?
weight limits? Are there issues
I mean, you
there?
can't even,
Yeah.
you can't even pull
You
in
have to
a
apply
down
for
your
that.
semi if somebody's got parked on the street.
Wintertime.
Right, so there are weight limit issues.
Yeah.
He's bringing-
I mean, the place looks nice, and if you're gonna leave it like that and do nothing with it, I have nothing to say about it.
It's been like that for 5 years.
No.
If he's gonna leave it
Well,
like
with
that,
a
then
few,
there's no
with a few
problem.
incidences. If I may, is it ready? Can I jump in here? Okay. Having grown up in this town, all I remember about that spot when I was a kid growing up, because we roamed everywhere, but we did not go into that area because it was full of cars, it was full of junk, it was just scary. Okay, I've been down there twice in the last several weeks, and it definitely, you're right, it looks nice. In fact, I consider it like a Royal Oak Park without picnic tables. I mean, that's, yes. Well, you just said it looks great.
It
He's
looks
done a great
nice,
job.
I said, compared to the high
Okay.
grass.
She didn't say look
There
at
was
cars.
not.
Well, I would
I see any
invite.
swings out there.
No.
Okay, well, no, I mean, well,
I'd see a
it's not a
picnic table.
I
playground.
do
I
see
don't
like,
see- I don't see a
all
parking
cut.
grill.
buffer, like
I
they
don't
bring
see it, I don't
the.
see a park.
Okay, may I finish?
And you said yourself that there was old material there.
That he cleaned up.
Yeah, but it was
getting fined
not
on
working.
over and
Mike
over.
And I guess that's the
Before
point.
Mike
It
left.
was not
Let me
working.
finish.
Yeah, let me
Okay,
just finish.
let Nathan finish it, you know, we gotta keep order here.
Yeah, so anyways, but if you go down there now, I mean, if you were to take a look, the grass is cut, he's got a pile of wood chips, he's got a pole barn there that's been there and 2 parking semis, but there's no other trucks there. He's been doing nothing for the last 5 years but trying to comply. I've spoken, it's nice to meet you in person, I've spoken to Mr. Johnson several times on the phone in order to do my due diligence and do my homework.
Rogers.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Johnson.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rogers, I apologize.
That was faithful. Good move.
My bad. So at any rate though, here's the thing. We've already been to court and he won. In fact, we have to pay him money back, okay? And now we want to, what you're saying is that we want to pursue this even more when we all know that the chances are slim. Okay, it's more of a pipe dream. So we're gonna spend thousands of dollars to see if they'll hear this. I think the residents of this town would be much better served if we were to take those thousands of dollars that we're about ready to throw out the window and do sidewalk repairs.
You know what? Excuse me, I'm
gonna say that
all right.
because you don't live down there.
Excuse me,
That's
you said we went to court and he won. He won off lies. Reading this thing is a complete lie.
You're just stirring up something that doesn't need to be
So
stirred
you
up.
are defending every bit of
Tell me what to say.
BS that is written on this
I
thing
live here.
when it's a complete lie. Everything in here is a lie.
That's your opinion,
It's,
Sam.
well, my opinion. No, it's not my opinion. It's the
It's our,
facts.
everybody that
It
lives
is
down
the
there can
facts.
see that.
The court
So-
made a
so-
We all
ruling.
live down
The
there.
court made a ruling on the information
And the
they
state
had
is gonna
here,
support
not
the
by the
lower
truth.
court. So we're gonna lose some money. I'd rather see that
You
put
know
into
what?
the the village
Bread
side.
No,
butter
here's
tonight.
the thing though.
That's
You did not get elected to do what you think
Except for
that should be good for the residents. We got elected to listen to what our residents, and these are the residents that live on that street telling us what they would like done.
Yeah, well, I was elected to, first of all, it's not our money, okay? There's gonna be thousands of dollars thrown at this.
It's their money.
Yeah, the 3 people that did come tonight.
Oh, excuse me.
There's only 5 houses.
Excuse me.
I understand it. I understand it. I'm just telling you what I've
They need
seen.
to be here also.
Well, we're,
And
you
2
know
of them
what?
are for sale, and I,
We all know how this is gonna end, so if you guys wanna make your motion, we can just do it and get this over with. I still feel that the city, village residents should.
I know, it's
be-
just, you said you would never go down there, you said you've been down there.
No, as a
the
child.
last time- Yeah, and you.
I drive by,
2
I
times.
ride by there all the time
I've
now.
never seen you.
I've never seen
I'm
it
down there.
now.
Well, it is
I
a
see
dead
my
end, you're right.
town
I
Yeah,
go
yeah,
by
yeah.
there.
That's right, yeah, you go
I
by
never
there.
even liked
But you
it.
got
This
down
is
there, you
all
don't live down there.
hypothetical. Right
Would you
now
want
he's-
that- Would you want that going down your street?
Right
Would you want to
now,
raise your kids?
that looks
that?
like a park.
Excuse me.
And he's
would you-
he's not planning
That's
on
not
doing
a
anything.
park. That's not a park.
It's the vehicles coming
you can ask the
in,
Romeo
sir.
police
You
how
didn't
many
even answer my
loads of
question.
stuff.
Would you have that going down there with your kids growing up? Would you want that going down there?
What's going down there?
Nothing now. Now you already said it at the
Because
very
they
beginning.
stopped
If it's
it,
nothing,
that's
then I don't
why.
got a problem. But if it starts going up, there's gonna be a problem.
What if he were to put houses down there like,
I would,
No,
I
it's
know
not
that's
the-
fine.
it's not the issue.
That's not the issue.
fine.
Listen.
We're
What if,
fine with
if
that.
candy, yeah, if some butts were candy nuts, we'd all
I
have
think they're screaming for no reason.
I said my share, I'm
He's
good.
not doing anything
He's not
with it.
I already said it. He ain't gonna do anything with it. He
Why
can leave it right there how
why
it
is he
is.
taking it to
I'm
court
not-
if he's
I'm
not
not here to
gonna
argue.
do anything?
I'm not here to argue.
Yeah, but you stirred
I've
it
said
up.
what if I stirred it up, I've said what I feel. And
Well, then I
that's
said what
great.
I felt.
Right.
Great.
I mean,
Let's
we'll
make-
live
we'll make
down
your
there.
motion.
There is a lot of
Just- I
children
wanna
down
say-
there.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Okay, that's right.
Let's call the
Let's
vote.
discuss.
Mr. Hart has something.
Do the vote.
One thing I wanted to ask Mr. Clark, is there any additional evidence and things, Zach's bringing up some issues and things, are there anything that was not brought forth in the original rulings, the original court case?
No, in fact, one of my concerns is there were things that were introduced into the record that I don't think should have been, because the record should have been limited to that which was presented at the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, and it wasn't limited to that. Going forward, there's no new testimony. There aren't going to be witnesses. The process is, if the motion passes, that on behalf of the village, I will ask the Michigan Supreme Court to hear the appeal. It's a 2-step or 2-stage process. The village does not have a right of appeal. The village can ask for what is called leave to appeal. So I would ask the Supreme Court to entertain the appeal. The Supreme Court, if it says no, that's the end of it. If the Supreme Court says yes, then I would present arguments on behalf of the village, just as I did to the Court of Appeals.
And at that point, there would be new witnesses?
No,
Still no?
No, there's no, the record is frozen, the record is set. So the arguments are based on what has been presented and what is in the record. There aren't witnesses, there aren't new documents or different documents presented. It's based solely on the record, started with the ZBA, going to the Macomb County Circuit Court, and then what was considered by the Court of Appeals.
Okay.
Is there any way for this to go back to the ZBA?
Only if it was ordered by the Supreme Court. Only if the Supreme Court said on the application for leave to appeal, if the Supreme Court said, well, we're not going to hear this, we'll send it back to the Circuit Court for further hearing, or we'll send it back to the Zoning Board of Appeals for further hearing, or if the Supreme Court did entertain the appeal and said, before we decide, or our decision is, it should go back either to the Circuit Court or the Zoning Board of Appeals for some further hearing. So again, that would be a decision that the Supreme Court could entertain, but it would be the court's decision. Neither side, neither Mr. Rogers nor the village, can direct it to go to a different tribunal or back to the ZBA. That would have to be a decision made by the Supreme Court.
Okay. And again, it's good that we have a benefit of having an open meeting, because we had this discussion in a closed session. From our discussion, I believe we've already gone over this, the state Supreme Court primarily is hearing cases that are going to set more of a precedent. We kind of discussed the fact that the Supreme Court really doesn't care about this issue here, because they have thousands of these kinds of issues. But if they see one that has merit, that by making a determination it could affect many cases or more cases than this one, is that generally how they make their decisions?
Basically, yes. The catchphrase, if you will, is an issue that's important to the jurisprudence of the state of Michigan. So that there's some issue that would be important to not only the village of Romeo or Macomb County, but in Muskegon County or Oscoda County or another throughout the state of Michigan. The issue is unquestionably important to the village of Romeo, but the question becomes, is it unique, or is it important enough that the Supreme Court feels we need to weigh in because other communities are looking at this very same issue? Right. The other aspect of it in the Supreme Court's consideration is there a conflict in the courts of appeal? The Michigan courts of appeal, there are a number of them, 3-judge panels, and sometimes they don't all reach the same decision about the same issue. They sometimes reach different or conflicting decisions involving the same issue. So the Supreme Court would perhaps entertain a case to try to resolve a conflict that might exist in the courts of appeal. I don't see that as anything that would apply here.
Okay, and the last thing I have is, it's what I was looking up, the fee, besides preparing the case, it's $375, and then it's my understanding that for $150 more, we can pay that additional $150 to have them look at it a more expedited fashion. If you file what is called a motion for immediate consideration or emergency consideration, there's an additional fee for that. But the threshold isn't just to pay the fee. It isn't. You have to show that there's an emergency, that there's a reason why the court needs to look at this in an expedited fashion, because if it's not reviewed very quickly, there'll be irreparable harm. And while this, again, is unquestionably important to the village, and particularly the people who live on Dickinson Street, I'm not sure that it's of an emergency nature. Okay, I looked at the average cases are decided on, they're going to say it's about 5 to 6 months is what they do as an average. It says it could be much shorter or it could be longer. If this is something that went on longer, does this is still considered now under litigation, where the property owner is still going to be restricted from getting any kind of permits or doing the use of his land because he's under litigation? No, well, I shouldn't say so quickly. The village could ask for
a stay of the Court of Appeals opinion or order to keep things in the status quo, which would be that which was the circuit court decision. And again, that would be, the village would probably have to post a bond for that, to ask, if the court were to say, look, we're just gonna maintain the status quo, we're not gonna do anything, we're gonna leave this frozen in time, the court could do that.
And that would be the appeals court?
That would be the Supreme Court.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, just one question, Mr. Clark. Reading this thing here, it says that from 2012 on, that, you know, the time Mr. Rogers purchased, that there had been no citations given to Mr. Clairhout. Obviously, the village has done their environmental due diligence with that property before he purchased. Will that evidence be able to be admitted into, or was it left out deliberately by their attorney
Well,
to dupe the situation?
I don't know what Mr. Rogers' attorney did or didn't do, or his motivation, so I'm not going to address that. The village, to my knowledge, didn't do any environmental due diligence. It wouldn't have a reason to do so. It didn't own the property, didn't have an interest in the property. I can tell you, generally speaking, when there are zoning issues, the village's attitude has been, we want compliance, we don't want punishment. And so there's usually a concerted effort on behalf of the code enforcement officer, who was an officer in the police department, to work with the property owner to remedy the situation. So with respect to alleged violations or things that are observed, the effort and the energy is directed toward obtaining compliance. And that has always been the effort. But as far as due diligence regarding the environmental, I know of nothing that the...
So that would explain why there was no mention as far as prior to 2012, because our police department, our environmental, were working with Mike Clairhout on cleaning up the property that was non-conforming at the time. Because,
well, you could check the records in the police department to see. I don't know how long they keep their daily logs. I don't know what records.
Would they be admissible? Is that something that can be used?
Probably not. I'm not going to say that conclusively, but probably not, for the reason I mentioned before, that the Supreme Court or any appellate court doesn't usually entertain new or different or additional evidence, because they review, the appellate court being they, review what the courts below them have done, not what you bring to them now. So looking at things most conservatively, which I tend to do, I don't expect there would be the opportunity to introduce new or different evidence or information. That doesn't mean that different arguments couldn't be made, or different presentations of existing evidence or existing parts of the record couldn't be presented to the court.
That was left out?
Well,
Yes.
no, again, you're not likely to get new information or new documentation presented to the court, because the record is set. Now, again, that doesn't mean that a new or different argument can't be made about what's there, but if your decision and what you're trying to wrestle with and the conclusion to which you come is, well, we'll do this because we can put new things into evidence and put new things before the court, that's misguided, and I advise that you're not thinking.
Well, I wasn't looking to put new things, I just wanted to go at the history, that was it.
Well,
the history's so important. But
I'd like to repeat the motion.
The motion is to approve the appeal of the Supreme Court for 315 Dickinson Street.
Roll.
And we aren't doing anything as far as putting an injunction, so there wouldn't be any need to expedite. Is that correct?
I would say no.
Is that, because that's a whole other
Mr.
deal,
Clark
right?
just said there's no emergency
Right.
that I see.
Okay.
so the votes to
So we're not holding up
Is
the
it
property owner
315?
then?
The agenda says 314.
Yeah, 315. Did you get the wrong one on there? Yeah, I'll do it.
I just want to make sure you know that.
Jazz's house.
I heard you call my name, but if you could just,
Yeah.
He's 314.
I didn't say it.
if you could just repeat it.
To approve the appeal to the Supreme Court for 315 Dickinson Street.
Roll.
Bartholomew?
No.
Edwards?
Yes.
Fowler?
Abstain.
Hart?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
President Seelow?
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Council comments? Mr. Rogers, just hang on a minute, please.
Yeah, I have a quick council comment. I just want to say that we're all afforded the opportunity to reconsideration votes and to change our votes during special meetings like this. Bob changed his vote this time and it actually went against me. But I'm not going to chastise Bob for doing that because that's what we have the right to do. So I'm not going to ask him, gee, Bob, did you do your due diligence? Did you do your homework? I don't do anything. You know, that would be disrespectful. So that's all I have to say.
No, and I would even just say,
Put that on Twitter.
after a vote, if it was going to tie up the property owner to where it was gonna hold him while all this happened, then I would have had a harder time doing it, but if we're not affecting that.
No, I'm
then
just
at
saying I
least-
respect
then
your
at
vote.
least-
I'm not gonna
No,
say
I'm just
anything.
saying what I'm saying now. I'm feeling that, then we can tell, everybody that we did everything that we can do. I do not think that they will hear it. I think we have a very small chance it'll happen, but so be it. We'll spend it for that.
But in the end, if it was
And-
next door to you, you'd want to move
I
forward.
appreciate it. We all appreciate it.
Not really.
So-
I can say
I have a
At
question.
least you
I have a
taking
question.
a
I've seen it.
chance.
It's council comments.
Yeah.
It's council comment, meeting's over.
I would call it beautiful.
Okay.
We have
Anything
no
else?
opinion.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Matt.
I'll make the motion to adjourn. Second. A second. All in favor?
All right.